Hey everyone, and welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we dig into the stories and the values hidden in your pocket change. Today, we're tackling a coin that every single American who was alive in 1969 has almost certainly held in their hand. It's a coin you probably still get as change today, the 1969 Roosevelt Dime. On the surface, it's one of the most common coins of the modern era. And you knew there was a but coming. Could this common little dime be hiding a secret fortune? Is there a rare variety that could be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars? We're going to answer all of that today. We'll break down its history, its standard value, and then we'll go on a treasure hunt for the specific, mind-blowing error that makes this coin so legendary among collectors. Sitting back, speaking conversationally, to understand why a potential error in 1969 is such a big deal, we need to understand the context. The late 1960s were a time of massive change in U.S. coinage. The price of silver was skyrocketing, and the government could no longer afford to make our dimes and quarters out of 90% silver. So, in 1965, the composition changed from silver to a copper-nickel clad sandwich. The 1969 dime is part of this new, modern era. It's made of a pure copper core, plated with a 75% copper, 25% nickel alloy. It has no intrinsic silver value. So, if you have a standard, well-circulated 1969 dime that you found in your change, what is it worth? No, I know, not the exciting reveal you were hoping for. But hear me out. Even common coins have a numismatic market. A 1969 dime in extremely fine, almost uncirculated condition might be worth 20 to 50 cents to a collector who needs a nice example for their album. If you have one that is truly uncirculated, with its original luster and no bag marks, you could be looking at a value of $1 to $3. The mint mark is also important. In 1969, dimes were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, a D mint mark. The Denver Mint produced over 500 million dimes that year, making the 1969 D the most common. The Philadelphia Mint produced about 145 million. Because of the lower mintage, an uncirculated 1969 P, no mint mark, might fetch a slight premium over the 1969 D, but we're still talking a few dollars. So, if that's the case, why are we even making a video about this coin because of a ghost? A coin that wasn't supposed to exist. A mistake of epic proportions that created one of the most famous and valuable modern U.S. coins, the 1969 S. Roosevelt Dime proof. Let's set the stage. The S. mint mark stands for San Francisco. In 1968, the San Francisco Mint took over all proof coin production for the United States. Proof coins are special, they are struck multiple times on polished planchets with specially polished dies, creating a magnificent, mirror-like finish. They are sold directly to collectors in sets. In 1969, the San Francisco Mint struck over 2.2 million proof sets. Each set contained a penny, nickel, dime, quarter, and half dollar, all with the S mint mark. The dimes from these sets are beautiful, but they are common. You can buy a 1969 S proof dime for about $5 to $10. But, a very small number of these 1969 S-proof dimes were struck from a different set of dies. Dies that were never supposed to be used. They were struck from what are known as regular strike or business strike dies. To the untrained eye, it looks very similar to a regular proof. But to an expert or under magnification, the difference is clear. A normal proof has deeply mirrored fields, the flat background, with a frosted, cameo effect on the raised design of Roosevelt's head. The famous error coin, struck from business strike dies, lacks that dramatic contrast. The entire surface has a more uniform, granular, frosty texture, but why is this such a big deal? Because according to the official U.S. Mint records, this coin does not exist. The San Francisco Mint had no authority to produce business strike dimes in 1969. So, the creation of this coin was a monumental error, a breach of procedure. Nearly $500,000 for a single dime. The NGC Proof 68 specimen is considered even finer and is likely valued well over $500,000, if it were ever to come to auction. So, the multi-million-dollar question, or, well, the $500,000 question, is, how do you tell the difference? How can you possibly spot this needle in a continent-sized haystack? First and foremost, you must start with a coin that has an S mint mark. If your 1969 dime has a D or no mint mark, you can relax. You don't have the mega rarity. Second, it must have the appearance of a proof coin. It should have sharp details and some reflective surfaces. You're not going to find this error on a worn, circulated dime. It would have originated in a proof set. Now, for the technical part. The key difference is in the finish. 1. Normal 1969 S proof *. Look for a sharp contrast between the mirror-like fields and the frosted, matte, design elements. Run a finger over it, while holding it by the edge. The flat areas should feel perfectly smooth. Point 2. The 1969 S business strike error *. The entire surface will have a more uniform, slightly granular, or satiny texture. It will lack the deep, liquid mirrors of a true proof. The design will not have the pronounced frosty finish. This is an incredibly subtle difference, one that even experienced collectors can debate. That is why authentication is absolutely critical. If you suspect you have one of these, you cannot grade it yourself. You must submit it to either PCGS or NGC. The odds of you finding one of the two known examples are, frankly, astronomical. But the story doesn't end there. There are other, more accessible varieties for the 1969 dime. While you're a shortage of precious metals and proper equipment. 1796 dime ***. The first dimes featured a design known as draped bust. The obverse, front, depicted a portrait of Liberty with flowing hair, a ribbon inscribed with Liberty, and a draped gown. The reverse, back, featured a small, scrawny bald eagle surrounded by palm and olive branches. The coin did not bear the words United States of America, because that was required by law to be on the reverse, and there was no room. This design is known as the draped bust, small eagle type, the heraldic eagle reverse, 1798 to 1807 ***. In 1798, the reverse was changed to a larger, more majestic heraldic eagle. This eagle, inspired by the Great Seal of the United States, held a bundle of arrows and an olive branch in its talons and had a shield on its breast. This design completed the classic early draped bust dime. In 1809, a new design by chief engraver John Reich was introduced. This capped bust design featured a plump Liberty facing left, wearing a cloth cap, a symbol of freedom and the pursuit of liberty. The reverse continued with the heraldic eagle but was now larger and more detailed. These coins also introduced the marked edge, which had the inscription, 50 cents or half a hundred, reeded into the coin's edge, a security feature against clipping. Designed by Christian Gobrecht, the seated Liberty dime featured Liberty seated on a rock, holding a shield and a pole with a Liberty cap. The reverse initially just had the denomination, 1 dime, within a wreath. In 1838, stars were added around Liberty on the obverse. The California gold rush disrupted the value of gold and silver, causing silver coins to be hoarded for their metal value. To discourage melting, the mint reduced the weight of the dime and added arrows on either side of the date and rays around the eagle on the reverse to signify the change. The rays were removed in 1854, but the arrows remained until 1855. Following the trauma of the Civil War, a movement grew to add a religious motto to the nation's coinage. In 1866, "In God We Trust," was added on a ribbon above the eagle on the reverse of the seated Liberty dime. In 1860, the obverse was modified, removing the stars and creating a cleaner look. This design remained until the end of the series, named for its designer, chief engraver Charles E. Barber. This series was part of a wholesale redesign of U.S. silver coinage. It features a right-facing profile of Liberty wearing a Phrygian cap, with a wreath of laurel and a ribbon on the reverse. While technically proficient, the design was often criticized as being uninspired and monotonous. It is officially known as the Liberty Head dime. The design was the work of Adolph A. Weinman, a renowned sculptor who won a competition to redesign the dime and $50. The obverse features a youthful Liberty facing left, wearing a winged Phrygian cap. This cap was intended to symbolize freedom of thought, but the public quickly misinterpreted the wings as those of the Roman god Mercury, and the name Mercury Dime stuck. The reverse features the fasces, a bundle of rods with an axe, symbolizing strength and unity, alongside an olive branch, symbolizing peace. The Mercury Dime is considered a masterpiece of American numismatic art, blending American ideals with the Art Deco style of the era. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who died in April 1945, was a towering figure who led the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. He was also a founding patron of the March of Dimes, a charity that fought polio, the disease that paralyzed him. It was a fitting and popular decision to honor him on the 10-cent coin. The design was created by chief engraver John R. Sinek. The obverse features a portrait of Roosevelt, and the reverse features a torch, liberty, an olive branch, peace, and an oak branch, strength and independence. For the first 19 years, the Roosevelt dime was minted in 90% silver. However, a coin shortage driven by the rising price of silver led to the Coinage Act of 1965. From 1965 onward, the dime's composition was changed to a copper-nickel-clad sandwich, a pure copper core between two outer layers of a 75% copper, 25% nickel alloy. This is the composition still used today.